Thanks so much for joining us here today on the Valley View. I'm Sheila Fortson. The nation's only wax museum dedicated to the past, present, and future of African American culture is located in Baltimore, Maryland. Today, we'll take you on a tour and have a talk with the woman whose work made the museum possible and the institution itself an irreplaceable part of Black history. In the early 1980s, Dr. Elmer Martin, a professor at Morgan State University, and his wife Joanne embarked on an admirable and aggressive quest, teaching a new generation the importance of Black history.
My husband and I were a part of the Black and Beautiful generation. You know, we were saying it loud, and we're Black and proud, and to find that generation that represented the generation removed from us. His college students had already decided that career-wise it's possible to be too Black.
Fueled by the desire to change that mindset, the Martins chose to spread their message by creating wax figures of prominent African Americans to take on tour around Baltimore.
We had 4 wax figures that we take around the city of Baltimore and D.C. and the surrounding areas, set them up as exhibits, and then take them back home with us to our 2-bedroom apartment.
By 1988, what began as a young couple's dream became the reality of a people when the National Great Blacks in Wax Museum opened its doors on North Avenue in Baltimore.
I tell people when you walk around the museum, it's like you're walking around in the head of my husband, Elmer, who died in 2001, but we still very much are guided by his vision. He brought together a team of people, and so we still used the team approach. We weren't satisfied with the wax figures of people of African descent that we had seen in other museums. So we began to bring together our own team and pretty much define the industry for African American and African ancestored wax figures.
The journey through the museum is a testament to a rich and sometimes painful history. A replica slave ship complete with slave quarters and a lynching exhibit conjures up powerful emotions. But Dr. Martin says that's a normal and sometimes necessary part of the experience for visitors.
We tell over 5,000 years of our history here. I've had teenagers to say in 1997 when we unveiled the lynching exhibit that they didn't know there was such a thing as lynching. We get children sometimes who comment on the fact that there are young children who were taken as slaves and who were on the slave ship. So the reaction is varied. It's always potent, and we have young people who cry. I have no problem with them crying because it means that they can feel. They have compassion, and they have not been desensitized by all of the violence that they see that's virtual in nature.
Currently, the museum is set to undergo a major expansion project, and when it's complete, it'll tell even more history and shape even more lives.
We own all of the buildings on this block, so there are about 22 properties that we are going to demolish and create a 120,000 square foot state-of-the-art museum. And we're going to tell, rather than 5,000 years of history as we do now, over 200,000 years of history, and have a museum that provides jobs for this area. That's why we're here. We deliberately located in this community because we believe that a museum can serve as a catalyst for bringing a challenged community back to life, and say to our children that a museum doesn't have to be outside of your everyday reality.
For more information on the National Great Blacks in Wax Museum, log online to greatblacksinwax.org. For SEC TV's Valley View, I'm Sheila Fortson.